Xingyang Kuai Le, that's Happy New Year in Chinese. And as the Year of the Horse begins, I'm in London, home to Britain's largest Chinese population. About 10% of the UK's Chinese citizens are Christians. And right next door to London's bustling Chinatown is the Church of St Martin in the Fields. A church where, for decades, East and West have met. So, a better time than Chinese New Year to celebrate the 50th anniversary of St Martin's Chinese congregation. Tonight's hymns are sung by congregations gathered in St Martin's and by the church's English and Chinese choirs. And there's a special Songs of Praise performance of sacred music by husband and wife cello duo Julian and Xiaxing Lloyd Webber.
The Chinese New Year is no difference between Christian and non-Christian.
The Chinese New Year is very important for Chinese people to celebrate, but most is like a family get-together. So it's as important as Christmas for Western people.
Chinese New Year actually is a very different way of calculating the time. So Chinese New Year actually is the beginning of the lunar year.
The Chinese New Year, which means we gather together to celebrate the beginning of the spring.
Whether you're celebrating spring, Candlemas or Chinese New Year, there's a welcome for all at the landmark church on Trafalgar Square. As well as its many outreach missions, St Martin's is a church famous for its music. So let's now join members of both its English and Chinese-speaking congregations, reminding Christians all over the world to raise their voices in song. The first recorded Chinese visitor to Britain was Christian convert and Jesuit priest Michael Alphonsius Shenfu Tsong in 1685. And in 1805, it required an Act of Parliament for a Chinese man to become a British citizen, making his oath of allegiance by smashing a china saucer to symbolise breaking with his old country. Many of the Chinese who came here as immigrants in the mid-20th century were from the then British colony of Hong Kong, and St Martin's was one of the first churches to welcome them.
St Martin's isn't just about helping people out when they're on the underside of life, it's about sharing their enjoyment across all sorts of cultures and diverse forms of expression. And the Chinese are very much part of that tradition. They run their own life, they run their own mission, and we try to give them the support to do that.
The Chinese congregation, St. Martin's, I mean, it's very, very special because it's the old and young, they get together to celebrate for their 30th anniversary.
St. Martin is one of the earliest Chinese congregations in London, starting in the 60s, because the church is not far away from Chinatown, which is home for a Hong Kong community. Most of them work in the restaurants or takeaways, and most of them sort of were not finished until 1 or 2 in the morning, or sometimes not even sort of 3 o'clock before they go to bed.
Owing to these unsocial working hours, the Chinese service at St. Martin's has traditionally been held in the afternoon to allow the worshippers a well-earned lie-in before church.
Later, in the 70s, suddenly we sort of rapidly grow into a congregation, so roughly around 300 people here. Most of them were not Christian, but they come here just for sort of comfort and for fellowship. But later they go to the service and then become Christians.
The charity that runs the Chinese Community Centre is based in the new development underneath St. Martin's. It's called the Bishop Ho Ming Hua Association. The name was given to Bishop Hall of Hong Kong by the Chinese people and means he who understands the Chinese. It was the bishop who first sent the Reverend S.Y. Lee over to St. Martin's in the mid-1960s to start ministering to the Chinese. And the Lee family are still connected with the church.
I think grandfather will probably smile down on us, but he'll probably be happy that we've actually done our best and we've developed with society's needs. It's essentially the elderly, they come to the charity and they come here for luncheons and socialising and their Tai Chi classes. There are English classes for everybody. And also there's Chinese classes for the younger generation, including myself.
Basically, I've been part of St. Martin's for my whole life because my parents got married there, and then I was baptised with my sister and then confirmed there, and I've been there ever since. I worship there every Sunday. For a second-generation Chinese person like myself, what's important has been the link to the Chinese culture and the language, because the service is conducted in both Cantonese and English, and it's sometimes if you miss something in one language, you can catch it in the other. At St. Martin, seeing so many people of different cultures and languages coming together, it makes you feel that we're all part of one family and in one faith and believing in one God, and also that there's no barriers to our faith.